Like, what do they do? What's their plan to address their quarterback situation for the future? Is it in that early first round, or do they take best available, Travis Hunter, pass rusher, and then what do they do at back end of the first round? Do they have a lot of draft capital, those two teams? Do they want to trade back in from the top of the second round to get in the mix there in the 20s to try to get their quarterback? Because I think that's where a lot of those guys are slotted to go, in the 20s and 30s and then the 40s of the draft.
You mentioned the draft, or you mentioned the Giants, rather, as it pertains to the draft and drafting a quarterback. And we did hear from Joe Schoen in his pre-draft press conference that it's not, quote, mandatory for this team to take a quarterback. And you can read into that a lot of different ways, because they did sign Russell Wilson, they signed Jameis Winston. Let's say the Giants do take a quarterback at 3. Are you confident that a team like that is going to have enough of the infrastructure coming off the 3-14 season, knowing that some of the decisions that are going to be made with short-term thinking in mind? Will they have the right place for Shedeur Sanders to begin his career and provide him the runway to go with it?
There's a big question mark there for me, with the uncertainty going into the season after the finish to last year. With what they've done at the quarterback position with Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, I don't see quarterback as a dire need at number 3. I don't see them going with a quarterback there. I see them taking the top player on their board and then addressing the quarterback maybe in the top of the second round, or if the guy's there and they want to trade up. They have 8 picks in this draft, so they have capital to trade and move up into the first round to get the quarterback that they like. I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is the right fit for the Giants. I know as a young quarterback, they have a lot of young weapons. Malik Neighbors, Jalen Wyatt can run on the outside. I just don't know if the other talent on offense is built for a young quarterback to be successful. And with the instability within the organization, with all the question marks that linger from last season, and the New York media, everything that goes into that, I think that can be overwhelming for some young players with a lot of hype that are coming in there.
Matt Schaub, former NFL quarterback, joining us here on Game Night on ESPN Radio. We're just a couple nights away from round 1 of this year's NFL Draft. Matt, what is something that you wish you knew as a quarterback when you first got to the league that you would tell these quarterbacks?
As much as the game is the same, so much around it and about the game of football has changed in the 21 years since I was drafted. But me coming to the Atlanta Falcons, backing up Mike Vick for 3 years, I think the business aspect of it was the biggest surprise. You understand that it is a business, right? But until you get in and you're there and you realize one day to the next that the guys in either locker on either side of you could be gone and someone else there within hours, that's when it really hit me. That was my welcome to the NFL type of moment. And I think nowadays, with the way college football is built, I think guys are used to seeing that in the college game with the portal and the NIL and everything like that. But if I had to say one thing that I wish I would have known, how much went into the preparation. In college, you still have classes. You only have so many hours. In the NFL, you grind. You get there early. You stay late. There's so much time invested and time spent, and I love that. But it is something that you have to get used to, and you have to develop that routine early and take care of your body, because it is a grueling long season when you go from the start of training camp on through, now 17 games. So I think that's one thing that guys need to realize is formulate a plan for their week and how they're going to take care of themselves and get them ready for Sunday.
So we heard from Mike Tomlin today. He says all the right things. Aaron Rodgers, and whatever he decides, not going to affect what their plans are at 21. What do they do? Is the right play to draft a quarterback no matter what for them in the first round and roll the dice? If Rodgers comes, great. If he doesn't, you'll feel okay with what you have?
I think you do have to show your fan base, and you're talking one of the most historic fan bases in the NFL, and you're talking about one of the most stable franchises and organizations in the history of the game. But I think you do have to send a message to your fan base that, we're not going to be held hostage, by a player that's not even on our team. And I think you need to look to the future. I think if Aaron Rodgers is their guy for a year, he's a Band-Aid, but you have to look to the future. Can you bring someone in to learn from him? get ready? Is it a Jalen Milroe that can play in that environment and be a tough physical player, can move around, and then he can learn the NFL game? And I think he suits what Arthur Smith and how the Steelers are built. So does Jackson Dart, athletic guy. But I do think they have addressed the quarterback position in the first round at 21, regardless of Aaron Rodgers.
Matt, will Travis Hunter be able to play both sides of the football in the NFL?
He's certainly talented enough. I think playing at Colorado and the competition they're playing, the NFL is far different. I think it's just a way higher level. And to be able to go out there and play every snap, I think is a little bit wishful thinking. He's super talented, but I think it could be in spot duty. I think he's going to have a package or have certain things that he hangs his hat on, but then knowing he can go in and play certain packages, whether it's on defense or offensively, whatever his role is, number one role, and then he has some subsets from that. But to go in there and do it from day one, I think is a little bit of wishful thinking, and I think the organization that will pick him will understand that. But put him in a position where he can help the team and not get overwhelmed by the information and all the nuances on the game plan, both offensively and defensively, because it's just a different game in the NFL from college.
Matt, we'll get you out of here on this. There was a little bit of news coming out of Flowery Branch earlier this week that he is present, which is kind of surprising for voluntary off-season workouts because there's this impasse over his contract, over what his role would be on the team. And, of course, there's the Minnesota Vikings coming back into the picture as a rumored team that might be interested in trading for him. What should Kirk want to do at this point of his career, knowing that the two options that are out there right now have quarterbacks in place? It would appear on the surface that he would be going somewhere, whether it's Atlanta, Minnesota, wherever, to be a backup. How do you think he should play this?
Well, I think right now he's playing it as a pro's pro. I mean, you show up, you're under contract, and he's a quarterback. Whether he's the backup, the starter, or whatever, he's there to go to work and better himself. Whether he's on that team or not. And to be honest with you, it shows it's good in the locker room when your teammates see you unfazed by that noise and whatever might happen. And also, while it is optional right now, look, whether he's with the Atlanta Falcons or not, and, right now he is, it's a lot of money that he's going to be paid to be a backup if that is the case. But for him, he should want to play. He should want to start. I mean, that's what you're in the business to do. And while there was a rough patch last year, he still has football left in him, and he can still throw it. He's still valuable to a team, whether it's Minnesota or, I know there was some grumbling about Cleveland, or if it's just here in Atlanta, he can be a valuable resource to Michael Penix Jr. and the rest of the team. But I'm not surprised that he showed up to the start of off-season program.
Matt Schaub, former NFL quarterback, here with us on Game Night. Great job, Matt. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Unsportsmanlike is going on the road. They're going to be live from Green Bay beginning Thursday for coverage of the NFL Draft, brought to you by ZipRecruiter, GNC, and American Family Insurance. She's Courtney Cronin. I'm Jonathan Zaslow. Coming up next here on Game Night, we'll dig in a little more on Shedeur Sanders. How far could he drop in Thursday night's draft? Plus, an update on T-Wolves and Lakers next. Game Night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
The NBA playoffs on ESPN Radio.
Gilgeous-Alexander, open three. Bang, he got it.
From the play-in tournament.
It really just felt like we had a second chance.
Until a champion is crowned at the NBA Finals.
If you don't think we are headed for an amazing spring, I can't help you.
Welcome to the NBA playoffs. Anything can happen.
On ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
HBO's biggest series is back, and it's only on Crave.
If you just keep going, you find something new to fight for.
The Last of Us, starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey.
There's no halfway with this.
Don't miss the Emmy-winning HBO original critics call breathtaking and masterfully tense.
What did you do?
I saved her.
The Last of Us. Stream now, only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Your mission, find a used car, truck, or SUV for under $30K. New Roads Automotive connects you to top quality, fully certified, low mileage vehicles. Our wide selection of used cars is backed by a 110-point inspection, Carfax report, and walk-away finance protection. This mission is risk-free with easy financing, same-day approvals, and 7-day exchange. The best cars found for you. Find your car at newroads.ca.
I'm standing in awe and admiration for Canada. Hello, this is Peter Mansbridge. It's a reporter's duty to be unbiased, but I'm so proud of Canadians everywhere, standing united, buying Canadian products, supporting Canadian businesses, and our very way of life. Shop as if your country depends on it. Keep your money in Canada for Canada.
Lately, times have been challenging, with many people facing increased interest rates, inflation, and rising credit card debt. Everyone needs a little help from time to time, but it can be hard to ask for help when it comes to your personal finances. But you're not alone. Millions of Canadians share that feeling with you. 500,000 Canadians have found help with their debt, and so can you with Consolidated Credit Counseling Services of Canada. They are one of the largest non-profit credit counseling organizations in the country, with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They could help you consolidate your bills into one affordable payment, minimize your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. No matter how much you owe, you don't need to do this alone. To get help, call 1-800-318-1940. That's 1-800-318-1940. Let Consolidated Credit get you back to a debt-free life. Call 1-800-318-1940. Call toll-free today for a free consultation. 1-800-318-1940. Ontario license number 4705786.
Order up for Damien.
Hey, how did your doctor's appointment go, by the way? Did you ask about Rybelsus?
Actually, I'm seeing my doctor later today.
Did you say Rybelsus? My dad's been talking about Rybelsus.
Rybelsus? Really?
Yeah, he says it's a pill that...
Well, I'll definitely be asking my doctor if Rybelsus is right for me.
Rybelsus. Ask your doctor or visit rybelsus.ca.
Order up for Rybelsus.
This segment on TSN 1050 for 2-for-1 pizza. Give yourself a high five. Buy any large traditional pizza and get up to 3 medium 1-topping pizzas for $5 each.
NBA update.
All right, Courtney. She's Courtney Cronin. I'm Jonathan Saslow. The Lakers lead the Wolves 69-51 midway through the third quarter. Luka Doncic, 24 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. LeBron James, ho-hum, 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Austin Reeves, third player in double figures for L.A., he has 10, and leading the way for Minnesota is Anthony Edwards. He has 19, but it's the Lakers ahead by 18. Look, if the Wolves are going to make a move back into this game, Courtney, it really feels like you got to cut it to 10 or 11 by the time you get to the fourth quarter.
It kind of feels like Ant is figuring it out right now. He's playing with some urgency. That's more than what you can say from them early on in this game. And when you look at what the bench has done, like, it's going to change this game. The tenor of this game can change, I think, in a pretty big way if your bench can get involved. 6 points so far. So, like, not a whole ton going into, this back end of this game to call home about from the bench. But they've kind of been in a tough spot because Naz Reid has the early fouls, and they're trying to make sure that they're able to preserve him for the end of the game. I get it. It's a tough spot, but when you let the Lakers jump out on you like that early on, the way that we expected them to, coming off of the game that they had the other night, and if you don't match their physicality, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Finch is talking about that following the game as to why Minnesota was never able to get off on the right foot.
Lakers continuing to pour it on here, had 71-51. We'll keep you updated on the rest of the action there in L.A. tonight. This is Game Night on ESPN Radio.
There is so much still lingering wonder about what Shedeur is. I don't think it is clear cut. And if it was, by the way, I would say the Cleveland Browns would take him.
If the Browns don't take Shedeur Sanders at 2, and if the Giants don't take Shedeur Sanders at 3, and that is the feel that I'm getting recently, where is Shedeur Sanders going?
I do think the Giants, even if there is a bit of an incongruence with where I have Shedeur Sanders on the big board, they have to at least think long and hard about a player who gives you a chance.
NFL draft just 2 sleeps away. First round taking place Thursday night. Shedeur Sanders. Courtney, you would agree. He's the most intriguing story of the night going into Thursday, right?
Because he could go as high as 3, as low as 21, and I guess in worst case scenario, even further beyond that in the first round.
So you're actually cutting off at 21, though? You think that's the lowest he would drop?
Well, going in right now, they're the only team in that bottom half of the draft order that needs a quarterback. Like a surefire, hey, we need somebody that might be a rookie in 2025. But would it surprise me if Friday's becomes the most intriguing day of the entire draft because there's quarterbacks who don't go in round 1? I know that Mike Tannenbaum talked today and said, I think 4 will go in the first round. What if it's only 2? And then you're in Green Bay if you're Jalen Milroe saying, that was a dumb decision for me to come up here. You go home, you're drafted on the second night of the draft, but maybe Jackson Dart goes, maybe Tyler Shuck goes, maybe we start to see a run on QBs in the second round that we don't get early on because the first round quarterbacks, maybe there's only 2 of them that are surefire first round guys with first round grades.
Well, let's hear from Adam Schefter, of course, our ESPN NFL insider. He was on Unsportsmanlike. You can hear every morning, weekdays here on ESPN Radio, 6:10 a.m. Eastern time. And he'll tell you he doesn't believe that Shedeur could go as high as number 3, but he's not willing to completely rule it out.
As we sit here today, my guess would be that Shedeur does not go number 3, that it's another pick, and that the Giants could be in play on him later in the first round, trading back, maybe in the second round. We'll see how it goes. But that's the first early question. Does Shedeur go 3? And my guess is that the answer to that is no, but I am not ready to rule that out either.
I like it, Courtney. This is, some drafts, you feel like you know what the first few picks are going to be. Well, we know what number 1's going to be, but after that, it's like, all right, are they going to take Shedeur? Are they going to take Shedeur? Like those first few picks, I feel like it'll be very exciting Thursday night.
Yeah, like last year was kind of boring. Picks 1 through 3. Caleb Williams, we had known since the end of March when the Bears sent everybody in the building out to USC for his pro day that he was going to be taken at 1, and then Jaden Daniels and then Drake May. The draft didn't really get interesting until Michael Penix got involved in the first round with the 8th overall pick, and then the Denver Broncos getting involved. I did too. And hey, they're probably feeling pretty good about it this year that they don't have to get involved in this year's quarterback draft class. But it is intriguing from what Schefter was saying that he doesn't think that Shedeur is going 3rd overall. I think there are a lot of people who do not think the Giants are going to take a quarterback with that pick. Doesn't rule them out from taking a quarterback later on, potentially. Maybe they trade back into the first round. Maybe it's a day 2 pick. But the thing I have a hard time with is that if you're a team that needs a quarterback, and the Giants don't fall into the category of, oh my God, if we don't get somebody, we're going to be starting Tommy DeVito. They've got Russell Wilson. They've got Jameis Winston. They have options for now, but they're trying to save their jobs if you're in that front office. Like, can we just talk about this honestly and what happens when teams feel like their backs are against the wall and you might be out of your GM job? Your head coach might be out of his head coaching job. If you don't get this season right, and it doesn't necessarily mean wins, doesn't mean they got to go from 3 wins to 9 wins to be a successful season. You need to have as many bites at the quarterback apple as possible. And that is getting a quarterback in the first round, whether it's Shedeur or whether it's somebody else later on, because they need to go to ownership and say, after 11 weeks, let's say, seen enough from Russ. Russ is above average to average quarterback as he was in Pittsburgh last year. Time to turn the reins over to the future. Oh, wait, we got to see this thing through. If it looks okay, then you go to ownership and say, hey, give us another year, give us 2 more years so we can show you that we made the right call. So I don't care if he goes at 3 there. If they take another quarterback, they just need to take a legitimate not like super developmental prospect, 4th, 5th round guy, but they need to take one day 1 or day 2.
Now, what if the Browns and Giants, both, number 2, number 3, what if they both pass on Shedeur Sanders? How far could he possibly fall? Like, Courtney thinks that 21 is likely the cap. Is there any chance he would drop to the 2nd round? Well, Jordan Reed, ESPN NFL draft analyst, he was on Joe and Q. You could hear them every weekday, 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. He thinks it's unlikely we're going to look at Shedeur in the 2nd round.
I don't see out of the 1st round, honestly. I think with Cleveland and then also the Giants having the first 2 picks in the 2nd round, I think somebody would eventually come up for him. The spot that I have circled, really 2 spots, is Atlanta at 15, being that they only have 4 draft picks, and then also Denver at 20 is another area just ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers at 1. So those are 2 spots to keep an eye on as far as teams targeting a trade up for Shedeur. So I don't think he gets past the Steelers, whether it's them taking him or somebody trading up in front of them in order to draft him.
All right, so Jordan's on the same page there as Courtney, 21. Don't see him dropping past that. But could Jackson Dart actually get selected before Shedeur? ESPN NFL analyst Peter Schrager, he was on Get Up. He thinks that's a possibility.
There's some buzz locally here in New York about Jackson Dart being the preferred quarterback to Shedeur Sanders in the Giants organization. I would say this: if the Giants were to trade back into the 1st and take Dart over Sanders, understand they have done their work on Dart too. There was a lot of news that Shedeur Sanders was getting another visit, and they've been to 13 people went to the pro day. Take a look at these facts right here. They've done as much work and have been in the building in Ole Miss as much as they have for Shedeur Sanders. Furthermore, Joe Shane has a kid at Ole Miss, so he's been there and around that program plenty. Eli Manning has the Ole Miss connection. Do you know who an analyst for Ole Miss is right now? Joe Judge is an analyst at Ole Miss, so you've got people there. And then Charlie Weiss Jr. is the one calling the plays. And if you look at Brian Dable and his history, and of course, Mike, you know this, and D. Wood, you know this, Charlie Weiss and Dable through the Belichick tree have a lot of connections as well. The Giants will know everything they need to know about Jackson Dart.
Courtney, you want to talk about a juicy story on Thursday night? If Jackson Dart goes before Shedeur Sanders.
Of course, because all the buzz all along has been Shedeur could go number 1, and then, okay, Cam Ward's going number 1, Shedeur's number 2. If he somehow falls below Jackson Dart, then we're going to have a lot of questions to answer Friday about the evaluation process and whether we were just sold a bill of goods this whole time or whether Jackson Dart really is a better quarterback.
Starting to get chippy in L.A. as the Lakers lead the Wolves 75-54 late 3rd quarter. Coming up next, the Milwaukee Bucks head home down 0-2. But does the return of a key piece give them some hope? Next, Game Night on ESPN Radio.
What's up, kiddos? Clinton Yates here. And coming up on Wednesday, we'll have a trio of NBA Game 2s to break down. And I promise you, we will begin the countdown towards the NFL Draft. That's Wednesday on Clinton and Friends at 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
These women are good people.
Amanda Seyfried stars.
It's our job to protect them.
In the riveting mystery thriller.
You gotta let it go.
I'll let it go when I find her.
Long Bright River. All new. Saturday at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on USA Network. Stream on Crave.
Sometimes an identity threat is a ring of professional hackers. And sometimes it's an overworked accountant who forgot to encrypt their connection while sending bank details.
I need a coffee.
And you need LifeLock, because your info is in endless places. It only takes one mistake to expose you to identity theft. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
There's something real here, right?
Yeah, of course.
Late Bloomer, the Crave original, the Globe and Mail calls one of the 10 best new shows of 2024 is back.
You have a wife at this point. Look how old you are.
From creator and star Jasmine Reyna. Don't miss the new season of the hit comedy critics say shines with authenticity and wit.
What if we don't have kids?
Late Bloomer, new season stream now. Only on Crave. Subscribe now at crave.ca.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Jan owns a home and a restaurant fusing French and Mexican cuisine. But she is fusing no more because her ovens have gone kaput. She called Alpine Credits, who sent their speedy superhero. With her business loan approved, her ovens were quickly fixed. The hero even had some of her poutine nachos. Yum! Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved.
Just for license 12616.
Bell Pure Fiber is the technology you need for high-performance applications. It leverages light signals transmitted through optical fiber. It's capable of providing huge bandwidth, super low latency, and it's immune to electromagnetic interference.
Basically what he means is, it's incredibly fast internet. Switch to Bell Pure Fiber, Canada's fastest internet, awarded by Ookla. From $60 per month. Visit bell.ca for more details and to check availability. Bell. Internet just got better.
Treat yourself to the best with Pizzaville. Add 12 chicken wings or boneless chicken poppers for only $13.73 to your favorite pizza order. Order by phone at 416-736-3636 or online at pizzaville.ca.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
CHUM AM Toronto is TSN 1050, an iHeart radio station and the voice of Toronto sports.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. The NBA playoffs continue. Lakers and T-Wolves battling in L.A. in Game 2. Minnesota up 1-0 in the series, but they trailed tonight. Lakers 77, T-Wolves 59, 152 remaining in the third. Luka Doncic has been outstanding tonight. 28 points, 8 of 14 from the field, along with 10 rebounds and 8 assists. LeBron with 15 and 7 boards, along with 5 assists so far tonight. T-Wolves trying to climb back in it. Julius Randle has 22. Anthony Edwards with 19. LA favored by 5.5 on ESPN Bet. In baseball, the Cubs wrap up a wild night at Wrigley with a walk-off win.
And the pitch to Ian Happ, swinging a base hit into right. Brewhon around third, heading home. Here comes the throw to the plate. Cubs win. Cubs win the ball game. Ian Happ, a game-winning single.
Call on the Cubs radio network. Chicago down to their last out in the ninth inning when Miguel Amaya hit a solo homer off for Tanner Scott. Kyle Tucker and Pete Crow Armstrong homered for Chicago. Tommy Edman, Andy Pajes, and Will Smith all went deep for L.A. They had won 5 of 6 coming in. In the NHL, Golden Knights and Wild in Game 2 in Vegas. Minnesota trying to even the series tonight, and they're up 3-0 after 1. A good start for the Wild tonight as they put a couple of goals in the back of the net. Matt Zuccarello and Marcus Foligno with the markers.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Wednesday, the Giants are fielding calls for the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft, but I'll tell you why they'd be out of their minds for trading down. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
This is
quick throw, what a catch! Highlight reel, touchdown!
Is
Crossing over steps, back another 3. Got it! Right down the chute.
Game night.
Swing and a drive! On its way! Gone! Ball game!
Game night on ESPN Radio and on the ESPN app.
Nembhard down the left side, confronted by Antetokounmpo. The shot clock at 6. He backs it up and buries a 3 from out on the left edge, right in front of Doc Rivers, who calls a timeout.
Call courtesy of 107.3 The Fan as the Indiana Pacers roll to a 2-0 lead over the Milwaukee Bucks, 123-115 tonight. She's Courtney Cronin. I'm Jonathan Zaslow. This is Game Night on ESPN Radio. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Milwaukee, though, they're going to head back to home, down 0-2, but at least you have the return of Damian Lillard tonight, so he's got a game in the bag. He struggled. He played 37 minutes. He did not shoot well. He was 4 of 13. He did play 37 minutes, though, in his first game back. Let's hear from the Bucks guard on, making sure that he can push through any type of fatigue.
I felt pretty solid. I got a little bit winded, but I think, everybody was a little winded. It was a long stretch. I mean, we cut the lead to 2. We could have very well stole that game. We was in position to do it. It's a mental battle. Just the competition, pushing through, being disciplined, being able to do what needs to be done down the stretch of the game.
It was a 15-point lead late for Indiana. The Bucks did cut it to 2. Indiana responds, and the Bucks are now going home down 0-2. Let's bring aboard Eric Name, Athletic Bucks reporter, joining us here on Game Night on ESPN Radio. Eric, thanks for your time. How did you think Lillard looked in his first action back?
I mean, I was surprised he played 37 minutes. It didn't seem like going into this, we talked to Dame after shoot-around today, and he had said first time he had played 5-on-5 full court was Sunday. And then, you add in a little bit on Monday, a little bit on Tuesday, and then all of a sudden he plays on Wednesday. He hadn't played in a month. They couldn't really let him work out because he had a blood clot for many of those weeks leading up to it. So for him to kind of go from nothing to playing 37 minutes in a playoff game, I ended up coming away pretty impressed. And you mentioned it. They cut it to 2 with 2 minutes and 33 seconds left. And who was it that hit the shot? It was Dame Lillard, a 31-footer. So if there's anything positive to take from being down 0-2 and from getting smacked a couple times in Indianapolis, it is the fact that Damian Lillard is back, Damian Lillard has played, and Damian Lillard has gotten through it into Game 3 as the Bucks try to go home and even up the series and kind of do what they need to do at home.
So he's got his legs under him, at least for one game, maybe more time, more minutes played. I mean, I'm with you, Eric. I was stunned to see him out there for 37 minutes tonight. But the physicality of this series is why I was like, maybe they'll try to ease him into it. Because you saw Gary Trent Jr. and Pascal Siakam getting into it in the first quarter and the officials having to get involved to break that up. You saw it later on in the game, too. Kevin Porter Jr., Thomas Bryant. Somebody's grabbing somebody's foot to prevent him from running down court. The flagrant foul. Like, how do you describe the level of physicality we've seen between these two teams in these two games, knowing that there has been some of this, a precursor to this, in the 3 games that they played during the regular season?
Yeah, I believe in the last 2 years we are now up to 17 games between the Pacers and the Bucks. These two teams are very familiar with each other. They don't like each other. They talk junk to each other constantly. They're always just jawing back and forth. And it's been this way for 2 years. And, they have a pretty long shared history at this point. Obviously, the Bucks lost to the Pacers in the playoffs last year. Giannis scored a career-high 64 points against the Pacers last year in the regular season and then had a sprint down the hallway to get the game ball from the Pacers locker room. Tyrese Halliburton hit Damian Lillard's Dame time celebration multiple times. They don't like each other. And Tyrese Halliburton kind of mentioned that after the game. Like, yeah, we don't really like each other. Giannis kind of downplayed. He was like, I like everybody, but I'm a competitor. So if you poke me, like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm going to be right here, and I'm going to keep competing. And between all of these guys, like, that's just a long time. That's too many games to see each other in a matter of 2 seasons. By the end of this, we'll be up near 20. And, I mean, if it goes 7, we'll get all the way to 22 games between these guys. So they don't like each other. It's going to keep being like that. And everyone's going to have to play through it and try to keep their composure. And thus far, the Pacers have done a better job of that than the Milwaukee Bucks.
On that note, did you get a read on what Damian Lillard and Tyrese Halliburton were chirping at each other about in Game 1? I know you mentioned, and of course we've seen Tyrese Halliburton mock the Dame time celebration, but was there something more than that?
That was Saturday. I think they were talking about their Easter Sunday plans, like where they were getting brunch, whose family, like if they had family in town. No, we have not gotten any details between those guys about what they were talking about. But I mean, it flew into tonight, right? Like you're all of a sudden it's a 2-point game late, and you have another situation where Dame is in Halliburton's face as Halliburton's getting ready to inbound the basketball. And it just seems like there's no end to this, right? Like that they will do this for as long as they're playing each other. And the Bucks hope that is, at least 4 more games to try to flip this series around, while the Pacers hope it's 2.
Eric, what's the bigger picture right now with Milwaukee? Because it feels like there's more on the line than just this first-round series with the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, I think every year with Giannis is one where ownership and the front office is going to be thinking about how do we contend for a championship. And at the start of this season, Giannis had kind of made it very clear when, we in the media asked, like, do you still feel like you're able to be a championship contender? That's always something that he's kind of said, like, I'm happy where I am as long as we're contending for championships. And we'd asked him about it, and he said, championships, final. Like, what are you guys asking about? We haven't been out of the first round. Like, we got to do that first before we can start talking about, contending for championships. And that's kind of like the sad reality is that since they won their title in 2021, they got out of the first round the following year, but then Chris Middleton got hurt, and they weren't able to beat the Celtics. The following year after that, Giannis was hurt for much of their series against the Miami Heat. They lose a 1-8 matchup there. Mike Budenholzer gets fired. Then you have last season, they get upset in a 3-6 matchup against the Pacers. And again, Giannis is hurt in that postseason. This is the first postseason. Honestly, tonight, I mentioned it to Giannis after the game in his post-game presser. This is the first playoff game Giannis and Dame have played together. It feels like they've been together for a long time. It's only been 2 seasons, and they didn't play it all together in the playoffs last year. This is the first time that they've gotten to actually play. And like we were talking about earlier, like Dame isn't all the way healthy yet. So it doesn't feel like they fully got to do that quite yet. But it does feel like in Milwaukee, every second that you are not winning, every second that you're not advancing in the playoffs, it feels like a second that is wasted. And you just kind of think about, like, winning in the league is really hard right now. Who knows who wins the championship? We've had 6 different champions in the last 6 seasons. We'll see if that trend continues. It is really difficult to put it together year after year, but when you have that guy, and Giannis is still, if you want to say he's one of the 3 best players, that's fine. He could be the best player in the world right now. And the Bucks are looking like they might not get out of the first round again. And that's just not kind of where it needs to be. And if that's not where it's going to be and the team isn't going to contend in the way that it needs to, then Giannis is going to start telling people, like, we got to figure this out. We need to find a way to contend again. And that's where everyone starts to really tighten up and start to wonder, like, okay, what does that mean comes next? So, yeah, I think every year you don't make a deep run with Giannis Antetokounmpo is a year and an off season that you're going to sweat and try to figure out how to get back there.
Eric Name, he's got the Bucks beat for the Athletic as Milwaukee goes home 0-2 after Indiana wins Game 2 tonight, 123-115. Eric, thanks for giving us some time here tonight on Game Night on ESPN Radio.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
The Lakers right now with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The lead is 85-70. Minnesota, you're running out of time to make a run here if you want to make this a game. Otherwise, you go home to Minneapolis with the series tied at 1. Coming up next, we'll continue updating you on what's going on with the Wolves and Lakers, but also look ahead to tomorrow's action in the association. Next, Game Night on ESPN Radio.
Hi, it's Randy Scott. You're obviously a big fan. Now you can catch me, though, giving you the top sports stories and highlights in a whole new place. Disney Plus. Me and Gary Streisky giving you the best of the day, SportsCenter's top 10 plays, and the best analysis you know and love from ESPN in a tasty little morsel. It's SC Plus. Find it on Disney Plus every day of the week.
On election night, stay connected to CTV News with extensive coverage across the country. Watch CTV News, Canada's most trusted news source. Live coverage begins Monday at 7, 5 Mountain on CTV and at ctvnews.ca.
The Battle of Ontario is on, and FanDuel is your home for all the drama. Build your bet live, any game, any period. Stack multiple matchups on one slip with SGP Plus, and get exclusive markets if Toronto and Ottawa take it to overtime. Download FanDuel and get more playoff action.
Please play responsibly. 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. If you have questions or concerns about your gambling or the gambling of someone close to you, please contact Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge.
Hey, it's James Duffy for McAlpine Lincoln in Aurora. This season, meet the moment invigorated at the Lincoln Spring event. With exceptional offers blooming now, there's never been a better time to experience the luxury of Lincoln. Enjoy up to a $6,000 credit and a $1,500 conquest bonus. Plus, if you own a Cadillac, you'll receive an extra $1,500 off. Offers on select new 2025 Lincoln models only. Learn more and book your discovery drive today. Visit McAlpineLincoln.com.
This is the year Toronto will be marching the cup down our city streets, and Manicure Men's Grooming Lounge wants you to look and feel your best while you celebrate. Elevate your grooming game with manicures, pedicures, facials, wax, and laser hair removal. Check out Stark's Barbering at Manicure Plus 2. Book your appointment today. Let's party like it's 1967. Come in for a free men's express pedicure, manicure, and Manicure Plus. 4 locations in Toronto. Online at manicure.ca. Have you got problems with your foundation? Water in your basement? Problems with your crawl space?
Basement Systems Toronto is the solution to all your basement problems. Guaranteed for 25 years. Basement Systems Toronto. All things basementy.
Big Easter deals are on at No Frills until April 23rd. This week, get selected varieties of Armstrong cheese or PC shredded cheese for only $4.44. Fill your basket at prices that won't be beat. No Frills. Proudly Canadian. See flyer for details.
Tim's Smile Cookie is almost here. And every bite makes your community every bite better. Because 100% of proceeds are donated to local charities and community groups. Head to Tim's for Smile Cookies from April 28th to May 4th.
Hey, Linda, did you see last night's windstorm knocked over the mailbox again?
No, but the gust shattered my front window again.
And took out another tree in the backyard again.
Looks like Mother Nature is redecorating again.
Severe weather in Ontario is becoming an everyday part of life, and we all pay the price. In fact, last year was one of the worst ever. Canada's insurance industry is working hard to help you adapt, recover, and protect the things we love. Learn more at ibc.ca/tomorrow.
ESPN app.
NBA update.
Lakers lead Minnesota 86-75. 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. It's the closest Minnesota's been all game. She's Courtney Cronin. I'm Jonathan Zaslow. Ooh, what do you think about that big putback there from LeBron? Nobody has to worry about doing play-by-play because Courtney and I are both on streaming services.
We both got that play 2 minutes after everybody else saw that in America.
Yeah.
Did that not
play-by-play.
count? Did that not count?
It looks like they waved it off, yeah. So
incredible play by LeBron and finish at the rim, but, well, I'm glad we got delayed from that. A big nothing.
A big nothing burger. The Lakers ahead 86-75, just under 8 minutes to go in the fourth. And like I said, it's closest Minnesota has been all game. The game's been a real stinker, but maybe finally Minnesota can put a little bit of a scare into this game. This is Game Night on ESPN Radio. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. So this is the final game of the night. Earlier this evening, Pacers went up 2-0 over Milwaukee with a 123-115 win. And Oklahoma City, they went up 2-0 over the Grizzlies, 118-99. It does feel like for the first time, Courtney, in this year's postseason, and granted, we're just dealing with game twos right now, right? It's still very early in the first round of these playoffs, but I think this Laker-Wolves game, for the first time this postseason, it felt like this was a must-win for the Lakers. Of course, they're still hanging on. There's time left here, but this really feels to me like the first game where we looked and said, okay, they have to win this game, that being Los Angeles.
Especially with how they came out in game one and J.J. Redick admitting that the physicality was, A, not something they were prepared for, which is baffling to hear when you had that time off to prepare for an opponent. And B, like, you were the 3 seed for the better part of the last month of the season. You have LeBron James and Luka Doncic. You made this trade to go win a championship. If you went down 0-2 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, there'd be a lot of smoke out there about, oh my goodness, did they have the wrong gamble here? Like, defense wins championships. Was Nico Harrison right? Like, I can think of all the absurd headlines. You know, somebody would throw that out there, be like, see, that's what he was talking about. No, I'm kidding. But no, it would be a big issue if the Los Angeles Lakers didn't come out tonight and assert some dominance. And I thought it was wise that J.J. Redick, before the game today, said that, or maybe it was even during their practice day yesterday, that they had their best practice in the last couple months when they had a chance to flush that game from Saturday and get right. Like, clearly it worked. Clearly something worked there. And are you really that surprised that Rudy Gobert is shooting as poorly as he is tonight, that Nickeil Alexander-Walker, that everybody not named Julius Randle or Anthony Edwards has yet to show up for this Timberwolves team? Because I'm not.
They seem like a team that takes their foot off the gas pedal to me and would be content with winning game number one. They come off to me like that kind of team. By the way, lead is down to 9 now, single digits, and Luka's doing the Luka thing now, where he has to be held back from charging at the referee. He's very upset about a call. This is going to be a theme once again this postseason, as he cannot control his emotions in these playoff games. So timeout on the floor. Wolves are within 9. Maybe we got a fun finish there. Now, as far as tomorrow goes, Courtney, 3 games starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We got the Magic at Celtics. Now, Jason Tatum, he had his wrist x-rayed in the middle of last game. It actually came back negative. He's listed as doubtful for game 2 tomorrow night against the Magic. Now, I don't believe that this actually takes anything away from Boston tomorrow. Obviously, if he's listed as doubtful, you don't expect him to play. I don't think that does much for the Magic anyway. I'd be really surprised if they still lost that game without Jason Tatum. But that's the one series for me, Courtney, where it's, man, if I had to just cross off one of these series where I don't need to pay attention to it, it's Magic Celtics.
Even if the Magic steal a game on the road at any point in the series, I mean, they were 2-1 against Boston in the regular season. They play them tough. They have a great defensive team. Can they shoot the ball? Can't shoot the ball very well? No. Yeah. And they go against a team that just rains a barrage of three-pointers every game. Yeah. They could steal one, and I'm still confident that Boston, in defending its title this year, is going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But the wrist thing, like, watching that replay, when he goes down, he immediately grabs for the wrist. Like, there was just this, like, silent gasp inside the garden of, oh, God. Did we lose Jason Tatum for the series? To hear that the x-ray is negative, MRI, whatever it was, great news. Do not rush him back. If he's doubtful, do not say, like, upgrade him tomorrow to questionable and then, oh, he's going to be a game-time decision and he plays. You don't need him this series. You can get by Orlando, whether it takes 4 games, 5. If it was going to 6, you'd get a little worried. But regardless, like, you should be fine putting that team away that got its way in via the 7 seed of the play-in. You'll be fine without Jason Tatum for an extended stretch.
Courtney, how nuts was that clip where you got Jason Tatum, he's writhing in pain on the ground, and Joe Mazzulla, number 1, tells the trainer, don't go on the floor, and then number 2 just snaps at Tatum and yells across the court for him to get up. I mean, he's likely to miss the game now tomorrow night.
Well, Maybe that's the reason. Maybe Joe Mazzulla had something to do with it. I kid. That was a weird sequence. It almost felt like he couldn't really read the situation and was freaking out in the moment, but not the way that one should have been handled.
So that's tomorrow, game number 2, Magic and Celtics. Also, 7:30 Eastern tomorrow, Heat Cavaliers. Now the Cavs, it was a 21-point win for Cleveland the other night. Final score, not indicative of how close that game actually was. Miami was in the entire game. In the fourth quarter, they ran out of gas. Now, they run out of gas because they played a high-stakes game 2 nights before, playing game. I don't know. I don't like to use that schedule stuff as an excuse, but it was a Heat team that ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. I'll tell you, Courtney, I'm a huge Heat fan. I'm obviously based here in South Florida. I was on the Miami Heat broadcast for 12 seasons, so I care very, very much about the Miami Heat. They're the team of my childhood. But while I don't have any illusions of grandeur that the Heat are going to win this series against the number 1 seed Cavaliers, I do believe that they're going to put up a real good fight tomorrow. I do believe they have a chance of winning that game tomorrow night.
All right, give me an answer here and take out the home cooking. Between the 2 play-in teams from the East, who do you give a better chance to steal a game in game 2? Knowing that even with the Tatum injury, even if he doesn't play.
Yeah, they can't shoot Orlando. They can't score,
Fair.
And you're going up against a Boston team where, with or without Tatum, it's going to be a barrage. Like, they beat you with math. That's their whole thing. They're just, we're going to out-math you. It's what the Boston Celtics do, which I hate that style of play. But the Heat, it's a Magic team that may have a better future now than the other playing team, Miami, but zero playoff experience. Well, the Miami Heat have championship level playoff experience.
Let me give you some math of my own. So in that Cavs game, they won in game 1. You said by 21.
Yeah.
The Cavs out-rebounded the Heat 42-37. Cleveland committed 7 turnovers and forced Miami into 14. The Cavs had 8 steals. The Heat had 5. Like, we're talking kind of about the same thing here of a team that has gone to the playoffs before, certainly not to the level, the extent of being, the 8 seed going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals the way they did a couple years ago, but they've been at this spot before, and I think they learned from that Knicks series a year ago about the physicality and about having to get your second chance opportunities in ways that maybe they weren't equipped for last year as a group. That's what, they were so competitive and they out-hustled Miami on a lot of plays.
They're really good.
And it's obvious as to why they're the 1 seed for that reason. I still look at this as Orlando steals one on the road, maybe tomorrow, especially if Tatum's not playing. I think that Miami goes down 0-2 going back to Miami.
Well, the third game tomorrow night is at 9:30 Eastern, and this to me is the series. If I had to pick one series that I cannot miss, Warriors-Rockets, that's my kind of basketball.
It's mine too if I can stay awake for it.
I love it.
If I can stay awake for it, I'm so sick and tired of these 9:30, 10 o'clock starts on the East Coast. It's a hard one to watch, but I don't want to miss any bit of Jimmy Butler going off in the second half and being the guy to seal the deal when they try to get Steph out of a rhythm. That is what I love about playoff basketball, and especially about that Warriors team.
Oh, it felt like I was watching a game straight out of the late 90s, that Game 1 Warriors-Rockets. I love that style of basketball. I don't need a game played in the 70s. Give me a game played in the mid-90s every now and then in the playoffs. I love it. Coming up next, how much impact will a Hall of Famer have on who drafts Shedeur Sanders? We'll tell you next. Game night on ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday as we get closer to the draft, I'll tell you those underrated storylines that I'm paying attention to. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
They're coming in hot.
My brother-in-law sends me a text. Hey, our buddy who he was going to the game with pulls the chute. Do you want to sit in the seats? I need someone to go with me. I had to wear a suit to the game.
Yeah, you're working.
I'm working after the game. And I sent that message to him. I said, just so you know, I know your routine. I'm going to have a suit on, drinking water. I have to work after the game. But I'd like to be in the seats because I'd like to pick up on the atmosphere, and it's a completely different vibe. But I am going to run something past you guys. You tell me what you think in retrospect, because I think I have a new lifestyle. I wasn't going to wear my tie. I needed my IFB. I needed a phone charger, fanny pack.
I was just going to say, were you wearing some sort of fanny pack or money
money belt.
Who's wearing a fanny pack?
You cannot wear a fanny pack, man. I am disgusted.
No, I love it.
Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog. Weekdays at 4 on TSN 1050.
Excuse our interruption on your audio. We just have to tell you about the special offer for a new Platinum or Signature Visa from Kemba Financial Credit Union, your local banking partner. You'll earn $200 cash back when you spend $2,000 in the first 90 days, and you can transfer high-rate debt and pay 0% APR on balance transfers made in the first 90 days for 15 months, which can mean big-time savings. Visit Kemba.org for details. Restrictions apply. APR equals annual percentage rate. Offer ends June 30th, 2025. Equal opportunity lender.
Longer days mean one extra hour of fetch. Are you making the most of time outdoors? With Invisible Fence brand, you can. Our professional installation and training take the hassle out of keeping your pet safe, so you spend more time enjoying your pet. Make the most out of the season with Invisible Fence brand. Save $150 with code IHEART150 at invisiblefence.com/iHeart. That's invisiblefence.com/iHeart.
These women are good people. Amanda Seyfried stars.
Our job to protect them.
In the riveting mystery thriller.
You gotta let it go. I'll let it go when I find her.
Long Bright River. All new. Saturday at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on USA Network. Stream on Crave.
Why let only one family member enjoy Rogers 5G when you can get a third line for as low as $35 per month?
Gather round, family.
What now, Dad?
I switched you all to Rogers 5G plans and saved us big time. More 5G, more savings. Everyone wins.
So I only have to pay one bill? Way to go, Dad. Unexpected W.
Get more lines on Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network for as low as $35 per month on the third line. $75 service setup fee per line may apply with a home service. See rogers.com/plans for details. Rogers, we got you.
This product may not be right for you. Please read and follow the label.
Do your legs feel tired and heavy? Do you experience cramps, pains, or tingling in your legs or feet? These may be signs of poor circulation and fluid buildup. Active Legs from New Nordic uses clinically proven ingredients like grape seeds, maritime bark extract, and magnesium to support the veins in your legs to help relieve your symptoms and make you feel better in as little as 1 month. Active Legs is available at Shoppers Drug Mart, Loblaw, Superstore, and Jean Coutu, or online at Amazon and newnordic.ca.
SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. NBA playoffs down the stretch in L.A. Lakers looking to even the series with the T-Wolves have led most of the night, but Minnesota making a late push. Lakers up 9, 90-81, 3:09 remaining in the game. Luka Doncic has led the way all night. 29 points, 8 of 18 from the field, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists, closing in on a triple-double. LeBron has 19 and 11 rebounds, along with 6 assists. Rui Hachimura in double figures with 11 for the Lakers. Julius Randle has a T-Wolves side 27. Anthony Edwards with 23. L.A. minus 5.5 on ESPN Bet. In the NHL, the Leafs survived the Senators to take a 2-0 series lead. Ottawa and Toronto needed overtime. Didn't take Max Domi long to find the game winner.
Just kept in by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but quickly brought to center ice now by Ottawa. Batherson into the slot, intercepted by Benoit. Benoit carries back for Toronto. He's in over the line, dropping for Max. Max into the slot, shooting shot! Max Domi scores for Toronto in overtime! The Leafs win it 3-2!
Call on Sportsnet 590, the fan. Domi scoring the game winner to give the Leafs their first 2-0 series lead since 2002. John Tavares and Morgan Riley with the markers in regulation. NHL, Golden Knights and Wild, Game 2 in Vegas. Minnesota up 4-1 in the second. Matt Boldy scoring his third goal of the series.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Wednesday as we get closer to the draft, I'll tell you those underrated storylines that I'm paying attention to. It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
I'm the most guaranteed person you could take.
The 2025 NFL Draft.
Is he a lockdown corner? Is he an elite receiving entity?
Round 1 begins Thursday.
This is just a dream come true.
On ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC. Presented by ZipRecruiter, GNC, and American Family Insurance.
How much is looming Deion Sanders factoring into a team's decision to draft his son Shadur? Thursday night, round 1 NFL draft. This is Game Night on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Courtney Cronin, Jonathan Zaslow here with you. I will tell you, if we would have had this conversation, I don't know, what are we talking, maybe 6 months ago, I'd say, Courtney. We knew that Shadur, first-round pick, that was going to be a thing. But it also seemed like by the time we approached the draft, we would have gotten a whole lot of what is Deion doing behind the scenes. And we haven't heard any of that. Have we not heard any of that, Courtney, do you believe? Because look, ESPN Nation, NFL, reporter, you're all over everything there in those circles. Are we not hearing it because it's being kept close to the chest, to the vest? Which one is it?
I think we're not hearing it because it doesn't matter, Zaz. The whole, when you go back a couple months, and I thought this is the direction that you were going to go with this, that if Deion would have left Colorado, would